So, Harry, how does someone go about starting this? And I'm thinking in particular of someone that maybe has experienced some spiritual trauma or abuse in their story, or maybe some of their experiences of how God was forced on them were unpleasant, or maybe there's a part of their story where they're still feeling, they're still battling that shame message or shame voice that says God doesn't want anything to do with you. And I know we can be growing in recovery and yet still be battling some of that in our thoughts about God. So what would you recommend to someone who's maybe in that place that they feel disconnected from God? How would you encourage them to get started?
Uh, the very first thing we have to do is to break the isolation. Joining a small group. I remember that my first time in a small group, and I was shocked at the transparency and openness that was happening within that group because I'd never been in a group like that before. And observing other people as they're telling their story, it was critically important to me. It is, this is something that you don't have to do yourself. You've been trying to do it all by yourself for some of you for decades. And no matter how hard you try, you fall back into the addictive behaviors. But when you choose to join a group, and the group is going to be a group of very imperfect people, some of people have climbed the wall, some haven't yet. But what you hear is those stories and realize I'm not alone. These people understand. They may be going to different churches. Maybe you haven't gone to church at all. But when you get into a group and discover that you are accepted for who you are, right where you are, that's to make a full circle of our discussion today. This is where hope begins to manifest itself, even among very imperfect people,
Mm,
because now, well, I'm seeing people who have thought like I've thought. They've done deeds similar to the deeds that I have done, and they are loving each other, and they are caring for each other, and they begin to call me up
mm,
and check on me.
yeah.
And now I can begin the process of learning how to be transparent. And the very reason, in counseling, we do disclosure much earlier than Seven Pillars has it organized. But the reason why Ted put the disclosure in Seven Pillars in Pillar 7 is so that you can experience what's happening in your small group and you're learning to be transparent and open. And you have the opportunity to even gain some sobriety. And then comes the place where you do the great and painful risk of sharing with the important people in your life, just as you did, John, by turning to your parents and your younger brothers
Mm.
and sharing with them. And it's in that process that hope comes. And when you've been spiritually abused because of the theology of the church you attended, the brokenness in your own family,
Mhm.
it's in a new community where you're seeing different approaches to the Christian walk, different approaches to facing the pain and discovering that even in the midst of your brokenness, even in all of your failings, in the true kingdom of God, you are loved as you are, and that you don't have to earn his love or our love, that it comes out of the grace and the mercy of God. Again, I would go back to Titus chapter 3, verses 4 through 7. where it is wonderfully, Paul speaks wonderfully into that. So the goal is that you begin to have hope. Because if you look into the future and you only see hopelessness, why try? But it's where we have hope that we have the opportunity to really engage in the true process of
Mm-hmm.
change. And it comes in community. Even in your solitude, it's the community around you that is supporting you as you learn that this new way of life.
Mm-hmm. Harry, it makes me think of the Henry Cloud quote that Rodney so often shares of like, if you've been wounded or have a level of spiritual trauma or feel disconnected from God, it might be because a lot of us have grown up in churches where there's a pretty high level of performance or pretending where we look good and continually get worse. And oftentimes people have had to go outside of the church to find some of their healing into a group where they can look bad and hopefully get better. And what I hear you saying is a pathway to reconnect with God or to re-engage the spirituality element of our lives is to go do life with other broken people who are reflecting the image and the heart of God to us. Rodney would say, people with skin, God with skin on. I need you, Harry. I need the reflection of Christ in you to speak to the lies in me. And I just think that's such a powerful pathway. Like, yes, if you feel disconnected from the church or faith or God in general, a pathway is, man, go find Jesus with the broken. He says that's where he'll be, right? With those who are in poverty, those who are out, the orphans, the widows. Like, go find people who are really real and honest about the brokenness they're sitting in and watch Jesus show up in the room, because he does. Like, that's where he dwells. That's where he's with us.
And I'm glad you quoted Rodney. For all of you who are new to Pure Desire, when you hear that we are going to do something nearby to you, you can go up and have a conversation with Rodney or even have coffee with Rodney because he, like you, John, does not know strangers.
That's so true.
Everybody's part of the family,
Yes.
as
Yep.
it should be. Yeah, as I think about where do we start, especially if we've maybe felt disconnected from God, we've walked through some level of spiritual or church abuse. I think it's important to acknowledge we don't have to do this alone. In terms of, we often get presented a spiritual journey that is alone. Now, that may be solitude for some, and that can be healthy, but it can also be this pressure of like, well, I go into my prayer closet and I do all these things, and yet I don't know what to do. I don't feel connected. I'm not getting anywhere. And so my encouragement would be to reach out for help. There are many people who have made it their profession. It's like, if we think of counselors existing for our mental health, there are spiritual directors and spiritual coaches whose primary role, what they feel called to, is helping you establish and understand your rhythm with Christ and growing in God. And they become that wise mentor who can ask the right questions, just like a counselor can. They can help present maybe some ideas about our spiritual journey that we haven't thought about. They can expose our blind spots and how we think about God. And I know in my own life, it started with my Pure Desire journey, 15 years. I've had a spiritual director who's really helped me understand the things I'm not understanding very well about where I'm at with Christ. And he's been a tremendous part of helping me unravel that performance mindset that I have, even in my relationship with God, and helping me see that God doesn't need my performance. He doesn't need me to do it right, that there is a relationship that is growing there because someone else is able to provide that input. And so I would just encourage you, if you're listening and you feel kind of stuck or feel like you've tried a lot of the traditional Christian things to grow your walk with Christ and you just feel like you're not getting anywhere, like, you don't have to do this alone. Reach out, find a spiritual mentor, a director, a friend that can really encourage you in that walk, because yes, there are aspects of our relationship with God that are between him and us alone, and no one else can do it for us. But there are so many pieces where we really need to see our relationship with God as maybe being the outcome of community, the outcome of friendship, the outcome of other relationships we have that give us a right understanding of our relationship with God, so that we're not just trying to walk alone, in an area where we really might need some support or encouragement.
And Nick, don't you just love and hate those people? Like, they say the best things and the worst things. It's like, I can't believe you just said that to me. And they're like, but keep saying it. It's like, this is so painful. Like, Harry, I remember so many conversations with you where I'm like, did Harry just say that to me? I can't believe he just said that to me. But it's also like, oh my goodness, like there's a level of pain or reality that sometimes they can bring that's just like, I would have never thought about that. Yeah. They kick your paradigm, they break it down, they build it back up. And man, we need honest, compassionate truth tellers. I'm not trying to scare somebody away from that space. I'm just saying that space is where life gets real, rubber hits the road, and you're like, I think you just slapped me, but it was the kindest slap to the face I've ever received.